Today I'm speaking with Ibi from Ray White Coburg. So welcome, Ibi.
Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
No worries. So introduce yourself to our clients and respective buyers.
Obviously my name is Ibi from Ray White Coburg. So I've been doing this. I've been in the game for now 3, 4, heading into my fourth year now. So which is good. I'm basically a sales executive. We run along with the team and basically kind of handle all the sales kind of side of things. We do all the manage all the buyers. The vendors as well. Kind of get mediate between the both and try and bring them to a kind of a conclusion kind of thing, and yeah, kind of get deals done, I guess, with negotiations. And I bit about me actually. I'm a Hawthorn supporter, so Peter's. Were
I'm
you
North
Hawthorn?
Melbourne, so
North
both
Melbourne, yeah.
actually doing it. You're doing a lot better than what I am. So
Yeah. So you had a rough weekend, whereas I
last few
was
weeks
I was
actually,
yeah.
yeah, a few rough ones.
So yeah, that's pretty much me. I been doing it for 3 4 years. I'm a big Hawthorn fan. I yeah, I don't really do much outside of work, to be honest. Just family, friends kind of thing. I don't really have any other commitments, so it's just whatever free time I get, just spend with the family, spend with the friends. Go for a kick sometimes with the footy. I haven't played footy in a very long time now, so but yeah, that's pretty much me, man.
You're a gym
That's
junkie.
that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Jim
Get
Dunk
up
as
early in
well.
the morning.
I try and be consistent, but to be frank, I'm not. I've been slacking a little bit, so hopefully I can try and get back up to being a bit more consistent.
Yeah,
Hopefully
awesome.
the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, awesome. So you're in Coburg. So your team, how many agents are in your team?
So at the moment, there's four in our team. So there's myself, there's Nazi Abuchi, who's the director and the auctioneer. There's Saha as well, who is pretty much similar to what I do in my role.
Yeah.
And then there's also Danielle that kind of handles pretty much the admin side of things. So there's four of us in the team. And then across the office, there's three teams. So there's my team, then there's team Houston, which is Raphael Houston's team, and Team Ali, which is Hamza Ali's team as well. So
Awesome.
three teams across the
Yeah.
office as
So
well.
being in Coburg, what areas do you mainly focus on in terms of
Mainly our core areas, Coburg. That's where we have predominantly the most kind of market share. We tend to stretch out slightly to surrounding suburbs, but we don't really focus mainly on those areas. But our expertise and knowledge is all pretty much Coburg North, Faulkner, and Coburg
yeah,
areas.
awesome. Growing areas as well, close to the city.
Yeah,
People want to spend, same with schools, etc. So
yeah.
from your point of view, what are you seeing in the market right now?
So we're definitely seeing a lot of buyers out there. We're just struggling to find, I guess, stock. I think you know better than I do, but I think the interest rates are playing a bit of a role to that as well. I think people are going to be cautious as to what they're going to be doing in the next couple of months and where they're heading. And yeah, I think it's everything's definitely selling that we're taking to auction, take to the market. But it's just struggling to find a lot. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So definitely, yeah, definitely selling, definitely buys up there, but just probably not as much stock as what we would have anticipated it would be.
Yeah, that's right. What are you seeing with vendors, and what is the conversation being had?
Yeah. Well, we're seeing a lot of vendors, obviously, they're a bit nervous. Obviously, in certain situations, circumstances, they really have to put their property up on the market, but they're very cautious. Like they're always asking, how many views is it getting? Do we have any buyers coming through the doors, and how many come through? So they're a bit nervous. They're always asking us, is it the right time to sell?
Yeah,
I think the conversation we're pretty much having is pretty much just showing them that, look, the property that it's definitely selling, it's just all about pretty much, presenting it properly, and just, making the open times available for the buyers to walk through and just pretty much getting into auction.
yeah,
We're seeing that if we just get everyone to auction and get them to the point where they're, fear, we're seeing that it's definitely selling. But I think, yeah, a lot of being very cautious about the market and being very a bit nerve-wracking when they put their property up on the market, and definitely if they go on auction, then before auction, being a bit nervous. Yeah.
is there that question going back to, is there a right time to sell? Is there actually a right time to sell?
There's honestly,
You can't.
I like to say to my clients, there's never a right time, and if you're going to be waiting for the right time, you're probably going to miss the right time anyway. So if you're going to sit there and overthink, maybe I should put up in spring, and maybe I should put up in just before spring or winter. Honestly, there's no really right time. It's just whenever you're kind of comfortable and when your kind of situation is right. And I guess it just depends on your certain circumstances. Because a lot of the times everyone seems to think spring is obviously the selling season. And it definitely is the market where a lot of properties are up on the market, but that's starting to compete with more properties as well. So there's always pros and cons about different markets. But in my opinion, there's never really the right specific time. It's just whenever you're ready, pretty much.
Yeah. From a first home buyer's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
how can they navigate today's market?
So it's tough for first home buyers because I think a lot of the times they're looking at properties and properties are selling above their expectations. And they're probably going to auctions for the first time, and it's again nerve-wracking for them as well. So it's not easy. I think you gotta understand the actual market that you're and the area that you're actually looking in. Every area is kind of different in how they do their auctions and how they price their properties. So I think if you can just go to auctions or inspect properties and understand what they sell for and understand what they quote, and just getting a bit of an idea as to how that runs in that specific area. I think that's pretty much what you'd want to do. Just make sure you understand your market and understand what's selling, how they're selling, and what the competition and what you're competing with, pretty much. Yeah, and then just take it from there. Getting as much knowledge as you can.
When I'm working with first home buyers and prospective buyers, they need to put an offer forward, obviously, to purchase a property. From your perspective as an agent, what makes a really good offer to put forward to your vendors?
Yes, so a lot of the times it is the price, obviously. That's one. Sometimes it's also understanding what the vendor's settlement terms and sale terms are as well. So if maybe a shorter settlement might be more ideal, or a longer standing that, so you can kind of make your offer as much as appealing as you can. So for instance, price is number one. At the end of the day, sometimes you obviously want to try and get it for the cheapest price possible for buyers, which is fine. But testing the waters at a certain price, but also making sure that you have understanding, if the vendors are wanting either a 5 or 10% deposit, 30, 60 or 90 days, and just asking the agent like what their kind of terms are. Are they looking at buying something? Have they already bought? And understanding their situation to kind of make your offer appealing. That's what I think personally, just understanding their settlement terms as well, and just sale terms in general.
So it goes to my next one. I was going to say, if you had 3 prospective buyers putting an offer in at the same price, obviously from your point of view, which one would you present to your vendor, or what would be the process in terms of that? So they got 3 buyers wanting this, like they put in the same offers. How would you present that to your vendor, and what would be the winning point for that?
So I'd lay out all 3 on the table. If they're all at the same price point, I'd obviously pinpoint out, again, the settlement terms, or their deposit is, if they're subject to finance, if they're subject to a building inspection, unconditional, and pretty much put all 3 on the table and say, hey guys, these are the offers. Understand that all prices are the same, but just bear in mind these are the terms and these are the conditions of the offer. Which one's more suitable for you guys? Which one is best, in your situation? They might say, look, you know what? Some vendors really love the fact that they prefer to go to a first home buyer than an older family, or maybe they prefer to go to an older family buyer situation as well. So sometimes they can take that into account as well.
Really?
That's probably not the major one, but the major one is the settlement terms and the sale.
So they can pick and choose who they'd want to sell to.
If it's pretty well, not always. I guess sometimes there's someone prepared to pay a bit more than the other. So I mean, if all
Exactly.
of us are the same, then the
Yeah.
vendor just automatically just starts to think about, who I would want my property to go to. And
Yeah.
I've got one, for instance, now in Faulkner where the vendor lives at the back. He's selling the front unit, and he really did told me, he goes, look, I'd really love to see go to a young family or a first home buyer.
Awesome.
And I said to him, I was like, look, I understand you want that, but if a price, if X came your way and it wasn't that, would you still sell it? He said, oh, 100%. But in this situation, if there was three offers the same price, his heart would be leading towards someone that's, young and, maybe a first home buyer, if that makes sense as well. So it just all depends.
Yeah. So as a scenario, when a vendor comes to you wanting to sell their home, how do you work out the value of the property?
Yeah, very good question. Obviously, a lot of the times they always ask, we're the experts. And again, you never really know what a property is worth until you take it to the market and kind of, see what buyers are willing to pay for it and see where they see value in it. But what I do is I get some relevant sales and comparable sales that have sold in the area, sold in the street. I like to kind of narrow it down in between 6 to 12 months because obviously the markets seems to change as obviously once you pass the 12-month time frame. I literally lay that in front of the vendor and say, hey guys, look, this is what's sold in the area. These are what the prices are. And then also take into account if they've done any renovations, any extensions, any upgrades, if they have something that's, zoned heating and cooling that might be a bit more, benefit other properties and certain things like that as well take into account. But mainly sales in the area.
Yeah, that's right.
Mainly sales, other sales in the area.
Yeah. So if I'm a client wanting to sell my home, I've got a price in mind, right? So say it's my property's worth 1.5 mil.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's worth 1.5. You look at it and you're thinking, yeah, no chance. How would you bring me back down to reality to say, okay, you're saying it's worth this much. I'm from my field of expertise, I know it's worth this much and what we can get. How would you bring me back down to reality and say, get me on the same page?
It's very simple, I guess. Look, a lot of the times, obviously it's quite simple. It's quite normal that a lot of vendors want to get as much as they can. It's fair enough, and get them as much as possible as well. So I'd pretty much just sit and say, hey, look, Peter, I know you want 1.5 million. The recent sales might be saying it's worth 1.3, 1.4. Although, look, who am I to tell you what your property's worth? Let's test it. Let's go to the market. Let's see what the feedback is. If they still come in at 1.3, 1.4, we'll take it to auction and see, what the market kind of determines. But just keep in mind, these are the sales that have been selling in the area. Maybe showing them auctions coming up, taking to those auctions and telling them, if that sells for again 1.3, 1.4, and feedback from buyers, I guess, feedback from prospective buyers as well. They might come and say it's not worth 1.5, and you can just literally tell the vendor, hey guys, look, all the buyers that have walked through are literally saying it's unfortunately not worth 1.5. And unfortunately, maybe we've got to kind of reassess, our expectations and kind of sit down and see what we think.
So people that are watching all those TV shows thinking, they can do all this stuff and get the highest price. I think that's probably what it is. A lot of people watching these TV shows thinking I can do the same, but in reality,
Look, a house is only worth what a buyer's prepared to pay for it. It could reach 1.5. I could be wrong. The buyers could be wrong. It probably could reach 1.5, but there's no point me sitting there telling the vendor it's not worth 1.5 because at the end of the day, I'm just an agent here to try and attract as many buyers as I can to the property and take it to a certain sale or method. It could reach that figure, even though other sales might be getting 1.3, 1.4, for instance. I'm really nobody to say what a property is worth. And I guess, like I say to all my clients, it's we've got to fetch it out to the market and see what they think. Even though recent sales might be at 1.3, 1.4, you're at 1. That's fine. There's no issue with that. Let's see what the market says and go from there.
100%. What are the common mistakes that you see from clients purchasing properties?
not getting building inspections sometimes. They tend to, look, and sometimes they see that the property is maintained well and it's in good condition, but sometimes they don't get building inspections, and then they walk into the property after, and it's like, oh shit, there's a crack here, there's a crack there, and it's just like, and then they try and blame everyone else, but in reality, it's pretty much it's their fault that they didn't do that. Also, not getting the contract reviewed as well. I feel that sometimes they, put an offer on something, they buy it, and then they, didn't know that there's, for instance, a body corp. Didn't know the background about what's happening in the body corp situation.
Yeah.
I think just mainly doing your research on really. I think a lot of buyers don't understand that it's very important to get things reviewed. Maybe get parents into the property, or just friends and family, get their opinions.
Yep.
But I think a lot of mistakes are pretty much doing their due diligence on the property.
Yeah, 100%. What are you seeing with investors at the moment?
Not many investors, man. It's not in our market. A lot of them are selling up, unfortunately. I think late last year, as an office, we had a look at our stock, and I think it was 80% was just investors. That was late last year, but now, not as much as what there would have been probably last year or the year before. Yeah.
You think it's got to do with the new land tax that's come in?
Land tax, 100%. Yeah, land tax, interest rates, everything's just gone up. It's very hard for them to hold on to it. So, I'll definitely say land tax is a big problem.
Okay. How do you get your clients? So do they come to you, or do you do the old-fashioned door knocking? Was another question.
Yeah, so I still door knock, definitely. It's always good to just obviously put a name to the face on the door. Cold calling as well. Everyone's got their own style. For me, it's cold calling. There's putting them onto the database, door knocking, putting them onto the database, and kind of nurturing them and building some sort of relationship. But mainly the prospecting tools, which is cold calling, door knocking, letter dropping, and just maintaining the database contacts there, pretty much. Not many callings, to be honest, but hopefully work towards getting more of them. In the future, hopefully.
So tell us how people can get in touch with yourself if they're wanting to sell their property or purchase a property.
They're pretty simple. 0414 798 229. But on the Ray White Coburg website, social media, my Instagram as well. Got a mobile number, email, and come through the office if you like as well, and just ask for myself. But pretty much available via phone calls or emails, text messages, whatever it is.
What's your Insta handle for people?
Iby Ray White, pretty plain Jane simple. IBY and then Ray White. So that's that.
And Coburg address is
283 to 285 Sydney Road, Coburg.
Awesome.
Is the office.
No worries. Thanks for the chat today, Iby. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hopefully it helps our prospective buyers get a bit of insight in how the real estate world works.
Of course. Thank you, Peter, for having me on, and I really, really appreciate it. But hopefully we can touch base soon anyway as well.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, mate.